Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen from different corners of the world. You're joining us in this webinar on Pathways to Peace in Palestine, Solution and Challenges, brought to you by Diplohouse, the House of Diplo think tank. Today, we have Mazin Qumsiyeh, a professor at Bethlehem University and 2025 Nobel Peace Prize candidate, and Hamidreza Gholamzadeh, PhD in American Studies, founder and president of Diplohouse, and Nahid Poureisa, geopolitical analyst and researcher in West Asia and China studies. I want to start with Professor Qumsiyeh. If he's with us right now, I think. I hope he's access to the internet. Hear his speech. I waste no time and give the floor to Professor Qumsiyeh from Palestine.
Some technical difficulty. Tell me what do you want? Because your line got cut off a little.
Yes. As you know, that our title of the webinar is Pathways to Peace in Palestine. I just want you, if you could elaborate of the situation in the Palestine right now and what's going on in Gaza, in West Bank, and different places of the Palestine, and the negotiations that has been taken in these times for the bringing the peace to your homeland.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. Very briefly, situation is beyond catastrophic. We are 15 million Palestinians in the world. 8.5 million of us are refugees or displaced people. And there's an ongoing and active genocide of our people. Every day, even today, some 15 children were killed on average every day for the past year and a half. In Gaza Strip, which lost about 5 to 7% of its population already, killed as a result of this genocide. And of course, Gaza Strip is mostly demolished, most of its buildings, over 85% of its residential buildings. Most of its hospitals were destroyed, all its universities. All of these things are devastated. And so basically, that's what's happening in Gaza. And the West Bank, similar things are beginning to happen, starting in the north of the West Bank, in Nablus and Jenin and Tulkarem, where the Israeli military is going into refugee camps, demolishing homes, killing people, destroying even streets, entering hospitals, etc. Meanwhile, settlements continue to expand. That's Jewish-only colonies, is the proper terminology for them. These Jewish-only colonies continue to expand, and the Jewish settlers who are gathered from around the world continue to wreak havoc among the Palestinian population and destroying people, having pogroms of our people, etc. The economy, of course, of Palestinians is devastated. Over the past few decades, there has been a process of de-development, as they call it in Israeli terminology, to arrest and de-develop our society so that we leave, basically, and end up joining the refugees around the world that are there. Concomitant with that, there's an ecocide, destruction of our environment, which started in 1948 with the uprooting of millions of trees and over 500 Palestinian villages and towns with all their crops and their surroundings, and planting only one kind of tree, which is European pine tree. There was diversion of the Jordan River basin water that devastated the Jordan River. There was drying up of the wetlands in the Hula area. There is also industrial settlements that dump their toxic waste on the environment and our people, our remaining people. There is basically in the war on the people of Gaza. I mean, I don't personally like to use the term war. It's an ethnic cleansing and genocide. But if it is a war, it's a war on the people, not a war between two contending armies or anything like that. This ethnic cleansing and genocide in Gaza is also an ecocide in Gaza. Most of the tree cover in Gaza has been devastated. This is from studies we have done, for example, using remote sensing. Essentially, most of the greenhouses and methods of production of food were destroyed in Gaza. In the North Gaza, more than 95% of tree cover is gone in the Gaza City and North Gaza districts. In the same two districts, very few greenhouses remain. So the situation, in one word, is catastrophic. We call it a Nakba, an ongoing Nakba, which started in 1948 with an attempt to transform our country, Palestine, which was a beautiful country with a beautiful diversity, both human diversity and biological diversity. Human diversity, we had a lot of people of different religions and backgrounds and cultures living in the country. We were multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious, and even multilingual. We had 44 languages spoken in Palestine before 1948, when the State of Israel was created on top of Palestine. And now there's dominant language, dominant ethnicity and culture, European Ashkenazi Jews mostly, and Hebrew language, and one religion. I wouldn't call it even, it's rabbinical Judaism, the style of European Jews, not other kinds of Judaisms or Samaritan monotheistic religions. Those were all devastated in the process of destruction. This is in brief what has transpired over the past 80 years, but there's been many books written about the subject. I won't bore you with the details of what we call in the medical field symptomology. We are here, hopefully we will discuss solutions and not dwell on the problems. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I just want to add another question. What do you think, in the opinion of the Palestinians, is the final solution to the situation in the Palestine? What could bring the peace to the people of the Palestine, in their own opinion?
Well, I can't speak for all Palestinians. Different Palestinians, of course, have different visions for the future and political ideologies and concepts for methods of governance, etc. But I can tell you statistics show that most Palestinians, we're talking about 95 to 98% of Palestinians, believe that Palestine belongs to all people, that it is an important holy land. Of course, we are majority Muslims. My family happens to be Christian, but that there are Jewish individuals in Palestine, there are Samaritans, there are Baha'i, there are Druze. We, the vast majority of Palestinians, based on statistics and polls, would like to see one country for all its citizens, a democracy, a human rights based solution that respects the rights of refugees to return to their own homes and lands, that respects the rights of people of various religions to live in peace and harmony in our country without Zionism, without colonialism, without racism, without militarism, all these things that have been devastating our country for the past 8 decades.
Thank you very much, Professor Mazin Qumsiyeh from Occupied Palestine. As we are in this webinar speaking and listening about the pathways to peace in Palestine, more than 50,000 innocent civilians were massacred in their homelands, most of them women and children, and beside them, many journalists are being killed in an attempt to silence the voice of Palestinian people and not let us know about the ongoing genocide in Palestine. As we know, and Mr. Qumsiyeh claimed that beside the Gaza Strip, this genocide is happening also in West Bank, and this shows that this is not, as it has been claimed, a war with Hamas, and shows us that all efforts to bring the peace to Palestine is reaching to nowhere. So now I want to ask Mrs. Nahid Poureisa to give us an historical overview of the attempts from different regional and global players to bring peace to this land and why it did not lead Palestinian people to any kind of peace. Instead, it made the situation. Mrs. Poureisa, if you're with us, floor.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. If you don't mind, I've written the text, so I'm going to read it out. The impossibility of peace through the two-state solution, the regional and historical analysis. The only framework that supposedly allows for equal accountability between the two parties for two-state solution is international law. But history and experience have shown us that this mechanism is designed to protect one state, Israel, against the other. It was never intended to create balance or justice. How can there be peace in two states when only one has defined borders, a recognized military and international backing, while the other is denied sovereignty, disarmed, and under siege? How can a second state exist when the first acts with impunity and aims to stretch from Egypt to Iraq? This speech is not about repeating what we already know. It is about exposing why peace is structurally impossible under the current system, the global system, and why the two-state solution is a smokescreen for continued domination. From its very beginning, the two-state proposal was designed to preserve the settled colonial nature of the Israeli regime. A state that defines itself exclusively as a Jewish state cannot, by logic and by law, grant equal sovereignty to Palestinians on the same land. Its identity is based on exclusion. Since the Oslo Accords were signed in 1993, the situation has only worsened. At the time of Oslo, there were around 110 Israeli settlements in West Bank. Today, there are over 280 or maybe 300, not including illegal outposts that are often legalized after. The settler population in 1993 was about only 250,000. Today, we have 700,000. What does this tell us? More land theft, more military checkpoints, more walls and fences, more forced displacement. Oslo did not bring peace. It formalized occupation. It promised a future state while allowing the future to be dismantled in real time. International law claims to prevent aggression and protect civilians. But when the International Court of Justice acknowledged the genocide in Gaza, what did the international community do? Israel assumed bombing in March, violating the ceasefire with total impunity. There were no consequences, no sanctions, no accountability. Meanwhile, the United States bombing Yemen, not because Yemen attacked anyone, but because they tried to stop weapons from reaching Israel. This is the state of so-called global law. Even worse, just 2 weeks ago, a mass grave was found in Gaza containing 15 UNRWA staff members. These were aid workers from UN, the agency that itself warned of genocide. They were buried with no dignity, and no one has been held responsible. International law is not failing. It is functioning exactly as intended to serve imperialism and shield Israel from consequences. Historians like Pape or Edward Said have long warned us that ethnic killings of Palestine, in the ethnic killings of Palestine, Pape exposed how Nakba of 1948 was not a tragic conflict. It was a deliberate campaign of explosion. Said explained how two-state solution became a liberal illusion, a diplomatic mask for ongoing genocide. We must move beyond illusion. We must now act with clarity. Israel's war is not limited to Gaza. One example, only one example out of so many. They are consistently bombing Syrian territory right now, especially Damascus and its airports, under the claim of targeting resistance or Iranian presence. But this is not about self-defense. These strikes violate Syrian sovereignty, kill civilians, and destabilize the region. Why? When one state claims the right to bomb across the borders from Egypt to Iraq, which I'm referring to the blue lines of the flag, while denying another state to the right to exist, the idea of peaceful coexistence becomes a farce. So again, how can a two-state solution work when one state does not recognize limits, geographical, legal, or moral? Israel has made it very clear its goal is not peace, but dominance. The only just solution is decolonization. Refugees must be allowed to return. All inhabitants, all the Palestinians must vote in a single democratic referendum. One state must be formed, not based on apartheid, but on equality and justice. This is not utopian. This is what South Africa and other countries in the history have shown is possible. What Palestinian people have demanded for decades, it is possible. There is no peace without return, no justice without liberation. There is no peace under occupation, no justice without return, and freedom through negotiation with colonizer is just impossible. The two-state solution was never a real plan. Oslo was a trap. The ICJ has been ignored. UN workers are in mass graves. Ceasefires are meaningless. Borders are meaningless because only one state gets to define them. So we must tell the truth. There is no way forward but resistance and referendum. No peace without liberation and no justice without decolonization. Freedom for Palestine is freedom for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Poureisa. And now I want to go to Mr. Gholamzadeh. I want to ask about these contradicting ideas that Mrs. Poureisa told it about us. There are several ideas for peacemaking in Palestine. Some argue two-state solution is the only way to reach peace. On the other hand, there is an idea that there should be a referendum in Palestine, and all current residents and all the Palestinians who are forced to leave their homes are refugees in other countries, putting aside their religion, language, and ethnicity, should participate. And what they decide should be the final solution for peace in Palestine. I want your opinion on why, in this age of democratization of all countries and lands in the world, some like disagree with this idea of holding a referendum in Palestine. Mr. Gholamzadeh.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yes, we have your voice.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
دوتایی میشه آقای دکتر.
I was trying to use the Bluetooth, but it doesn't work. So, can you hear me now better?
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you very much for the comments by the two distinguished guests. Of course, unfortunately I missed the first part of Mr. Qumsiyeh's speech, but I had the chance to be part of the last part and also listen to Ms. Poureisa, which actually mentioned some solutions. There are 2 points that comes to my mind. First of all, putting an end to the occupation and then deciding and finding a way for the destiny and the future of the Palestine and the occupied land. For the first part, we have tried the two-state solutions for so long, and it has been proven that it doesn't work. The United Nations has been behind that. The American governments have been trying to achieve that. Many people have tried that, and it didn't happen actually. And so now I was looking at the surveys and polls, and it shows that now less than 40% of the Palestinians are actually supporting two-state solution because they are realizing that it is not working anymore. Something that comes to mind is that we need to find another solution. And in order to find another solution, or let's say to implement the solution, we need to force the Israelis and their supporters, the Americans, into that. So in human history, we have the experience of South Africa, where the apartheid regime was ruling there, and it came to an end with the public protests and with the global support for the freedom fighters there. And finally, they brought it to justice. So the same thing can happen. We have had enough movements and let's say works to do that. So BDS movement is a significant one that has been in place for many years now. And for the past 1 or 2 years, it has gained more momentum as well. And so more people are knowing that such a thing is happening, and more people are realizing why such a movement exists. And with that, they can help to move ahead with pressuring the Israeli regime and the American regime into accepting new solutions. So the main important solution seems to be the one-state solution that was mentioned earlier. So, as you said, we are living a so-called democratic world today. Of course, we cannot really name it that because from east to west, we have many countries that are naming themselves as democracies, and they are claiming for democracy that have they are far away from the ideas that they are promoting themselves. Just look at the elections in the United States, or look at the protests in France, in Turkey, and in many other places that we are seeing how they are ruling. Anyway, in such a world that the United Nations and many international organizations are supporting democratic procedures, there seems to be only one solution, to have a referendum in which people can vote where, how, and in which way they want to be ruled over. So the right to destiny is one of the human rights that the United Nations has recognized, and the people of Palestine, either those who are now living in Gaza and West Bank, or those who are living in the occupied land, or those who are abroad in other countries, displaced Palestinians who are living in Jordan, in Egypt, or any other places across the world, they have the right, according to the UN Charter, they have the right to their own destiny, and they can decide what the future would be. So the best way seems to be this one-state solution based on a referendum in which all the Palestinians can freely participate and vote for what they want to be. Even if they decide to be ruled by the Israelis, let them be. It would be their right to decide about that. It doesn't mean that, because we all know that how the Americans and the Israeli regime are trying to depict every opposition as anti-Semitism and such labels that we are all familiar with. It doesn't have anything to do with that. even the Jewish community can also participate in that, because right now they are living there. Of course, we know that most of them, majority of them, are having actually two nationalities. So with dual nationalities, they are mainly from the other nationality. But anyway, even if they want to live in that land, they can also participate in the referendum, and they can vote for that. So it seems to be something that needs let's say an international campaign to work for this idea, because we have tried other solutions. It has failed. Oslo Accord failed and actually led to more occupation. For the past 1.5 years, we are seeing the genocide and the massacres that the Israeli regime is carrying out and killing tens of thousands of women, children, and innocent people. And we have had the ICC ruling against Israeli officials, and we're seeing how some countries are trying to avoid such rulings, and even they are threatening, instead of arresting Netanyahu, they are threatening to or deciding to leave the court and not to be member of that, just to support the genocide in Gaza. So what we need, the solution seems to be only one-state solution. And unless we want to participate in genocide, of course, there is another one-state solution the Israeli regime is supporting, which is killing only the Palestinians and exiling, putting all of them in exile, and then that's all. No, of course, it is not possible, because it is their own land. It is against human rights, and the humanity have been actually fighting for some measures and some ideals and some criteria for the many decades. And now, after all those times, in time of modernity and time of democratization, if we want to think about sending all the Palestinian out of their country, out of their land, that would be impossible. And even you cannot, it's something that I don't think we can even discuss about that and think about that. So one-state solution in favor of the Zionist regime is not possible, and it's against all logics and all international laws. But one-state solution in which every side can participate freely, and they have the right vote, an equal vote on that, not just like how the Arab population is living as second-degree citizens in the occupied land, not like that. Everyone, the Jewish community, the Christian community, the Muslim community, can participate in that. Everyone from all across the world participate in that and cast their vote, and they decide for their own destiny. This seems to be the only solution logically, and this needs to be promoted by let's say by people like us, the people in media, people in academia, people in everywhere, everyone who are influencers in one way or the other. We need to promote that idea, and a public campaign is needed, just like we have had so far, like BDS and other campaigns, pro-Palestinian campaigns, to force the countries into that. We all know that the governments are not following a correct agenda in that regard. We have been witnessing the most brutal genocide for the past several months and more than a year, and no one is taking any real actions against that. So this can be done only with the nations. They need to push for that and push their governments into some policies to be made in order to force that. As I say, we had the experience in the past in South Africa where they could stop a brutal force, and now it can be done again as well by uniting and promoting the idea, because when a huge issue is raised in international politics, the most important question is, if that is removed, if that is ended, what would happen next? What comes next? So the solutions are the most important question sometimes, because it would be the answer as well, the answer to the question that what would be next. And that can be something that when you promote the answer, then everyone realizes that that would be possible and they can work on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask another